Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Today in this video, I'm gonna share with you 5 tips to better your photography, and this is targeted to beginner photographers. Obviously, if you're already a pro, you already know about these tips, but if you're a beginner photographer and you wanna take your photography to the next level, listen to those 5 tips, and I guarantee you, your photography is gonna get a lot better. Now, if you don't know me, my name is Paul. I'm a photographer and I do videos here on YouTube. I post every week about street photography. I do some travel vlogs and I also share my thoughts on gear, especially Fujifilm. I'm a Fujifilm shooter, and if you like Fujifilm or a Fujifilm shooter too, you're gonna like the content on this channel, so make sure to subscribe. Alright, let's get into those 5 tips. Tip number 1, composition. Learn how to compose your shot. There's a grid with the lines of thirds. Make sure this is turned on your camera, that way you can see it on the screen or in the EVF when you're actually shooting, and use those lines to place your subject. So the subject's got to be either centered in the middle of those lines, or you might want to put the subject on one of the lines of thirds. That's how your shot would be composed right. If your subject is completely off or not centered, already it doesn't look that great. Another important thing with the lines of thirds, if you're shooting a portrait of someone, make sure the eyes are on the line. Tip number 2, keep the lines straight. Now there's nothing more irritating than when you look at a shot on the street, for example, and all the lines are crooked, nothing symmetrical. This is really amateurish. So make sure that you're shooting your camera, you're holding it horizontal. You can get that line in your EVF or on your screen to show you what the level is. And when your photo is taken but the lines aren't totally straight, make sure in post the horizontals are horizontals, and if the verticals aren't, there's a tool on Lightroom and other software where you can do the geometry and make sure you realign the buildings and make sure all the lines are symmetrical. That will definitely make your photo look a lot more professional. Tip number 3, create some depth of field. Now by that, I don't just mean buy an expensive lens that's gonna create a blurry background. I'm saying maybe play with the surroundings, put an object or something that's gonna be on the foreground and your subject will be far in focus and your foreground object is gonna be blurry. Kind of create a little depth of field that's very interesting. Or if your subject is close to the camera, now in that case you might want to make sure the subject is not against a wall. You may make sure there is some depth behind to blur the background, otherwise it'll be a little boring. Tip number 4, when you're on the street and you're taking a photo of a subject, don't always have the subject in the middle. Sometimes you can play with the position of the subject on the shot, and you can use the lines that are naturally there to direct the eye of the person watching. Now for example, a road or a wall, or maybe a curving road, or maybe you're under a bridge and you have the light at the end of the bridge, so you can play with the light to direct the eye towards the subject that you're shooting. It's always interesting to actually use what's around you to make your photo more interesting. Tip number 5 is play with the lights and shadows. Now that is a tip for the days where you go out and shoot, like for example at noon when the light is very harsh. If you're shooting in golden hour, which is the best time of day to shoot, you are gonna get interesting shadows naturally because the sunlight is very low, so the light comes from the side and you get interesting shadows and the golden light, so that always helps the photo look better. But sometimes you don't have that luxury and you can't shoot at golden hour, and you shoot during the day when the sun is up high and very harsh, and in that case there's still a way to make your photo interesting. Play with the lights and shadows. Find yourself a very dark place. For example, you go under a bridge where the light doesn't come, you get very dark shadows, and then outside of the bridge you have a very harsh light. Now playing with that and placing your subject halfway through either the shadows or the light can make your photo really interesting, and it doesn't have to be golden hour for that. And now I'm gonna add a 6th tip that is a little bonus. That's not really a tip, but it's go out and shoot more photography. The more you go out and the more you shoot and the more comfortable you get, not only with your camera, but also you get more comfortable with how to compose your shot, and you start seeing more things that can make your photo more interesting. So definitely stop watching videos on YouTube on learning about photography and go out and practice and shoot. And believe me, your photo is gonna get better just by practicing. All right, that's been it for me. I hope you guys enjoyed this 5 tips on how to better your photography as a beginner photographer. If you like this, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe for more content like this on the channel because I'll be posting here every week, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers.